Hello, my name is Trina Parham, and I'm a dating coach and author of The Curvy Girl's Guide to Dating, How to Live Fierce and Finally Meet Mr. Right. You can find me online at www.succulentwomenfindlove.com. And today's topic is all about the magical unicorn of marital bliss. Now, I get lots and lots of questions from clients and potential clients and women who attend my workshops about marriage. And, is marriage really as good as they say it is? And am I missing out as a single woman, on the marriage life? And so what I'm going to be talking about today is really getting to the heart of that issue. Because a lot of women, when you're single past a certain age and you're single when you don't want to be, you feel really insecure about a lot of things. And the reality is most of us live in a world that is very couple dominated. So everything from whether it's a restaurant that's having a special discount or if you want to travel, whatever it is, it's all based on couples. And so because of that, so many single women get caught in the idea that there's something magical that happens once you get married. Now, I know many of us have, we've heard all the fairy tales, we grew up with it, or we've gone to the fairy tale weddings, everything's beautiful, everybody's happy, and the bride looks great, the groom is so excited, everything seems to be flowing just perfectly. And if you've been a bridesmaid for the 10th or 15th time in a row and it hasn't been your turn yet, of course you're going to wonder, whether or not it's going to happen for you, number one. But also it seems like there's some magic involved. It seems like these women, these men who are getting married must have something that you don't. Well, I want to explain something to you, a concept that I call holes. It's all about holes. And so the question that you have to ask yourself is, are you whole or do you have a hole? That is always where it starts. And what do I mean by that? If you have a hole, that means there's something inside of you that's missing. A lot of times, we date and we go out with men and we expect them to give us something that we don't already have ourselves. Now, don't get me wrong. Love is awesome. I love love. I love being in love, and I really encourage that for my clients and I help them to get there. That's what being a dating coach is all about. But the problem comes in when you expect a man to come into your life and fill in all the broken places and all the holes and the gaps in your own soul, in your own life, as opposed to, are you whole? WHOLE. And by being whole, what do I mean is that you feel intact. Now, being whole doesn't mean that everything is perfect in your life. It doesn't mean that you get everything that you want. But what it does mean is, you feel pretty good about yourself. You feel at peace on the inside. And so one of the things that happens is if you aren't whole and you have a hole, is that you're constantly trying to figure out how to fill it. And so whether that's with a man, whether it's with shopping, whether it's with sex, whether it's with traveling or whatever it is, you're constantly trying to fill it up. So let me be the first to tell you that relationships don't fill that hole. And actually, I think that's one of the biggest barriers to a successful relationship is when you expect another person to come into your life and to fill you up. That is the biggest disappointment. And it's a lot of pressure on the partner that you expect to be with. If you're going out here and you're dating and, you're trying to, fill up all the gaps that you have within yourself. And let's say you finally meet someone. It is the most profound disappointment once you get into a relationship and you finally come to realize this person can't fix your brokenness. They can't do it. And that is such a large job and nobody wants to take that on. Now, I don't really like when people talk about how desperate some women can be, on the dating scene. I don't like when they talk about that because I think it paints women, especially single women, in a very bad light. And I don't think that all single women are desperate by any stretch of the imagination. But what's important to understand and to know is to be at peace with yourself. That's where it all starts. And let me just tell you, if you have friends who are married or relatives who just got married, everything might look really good, on the outside. You might look at their relationship and say, I might want to be in a kind of relationship similar to what they have. And I think that's great. But don't make the assumption that they've got some magical unicorn awesomeness that you don't have. It just feels like that because, you're still single and don't want to be. But what you need to understand is that, your single, girlfriend that you always hung out with who's now married doesn't have something that you don't have. It only feels like it because you're not married yet. You don't have the guy that you want to be with. You don't have the relationship or the marriage or the wedding, that you've been dreaming about, whatever the case may be. So I would encourage you, as you're getting out there in the dating scene, or if you're on the dating scene right now, take a step back and ask yourself that very vital question. Are you whole, or do you have a hole? Because the answer that you give to that question is really going to determine how you should move forward. So if you feel like you have a hole, the place to start is to figure out what those holes are, so that you can begin to cultivate that within yourself and to begin filling those places on your own. Now, this doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that all your holes have to be filled, before you get married, because the implication of that would be that all married people feel whole, and that's not the case. But while you're single and while you're still, waiting to meet the right guy, or you're going out and you're dating and you're, hopefully going to make the right connection, this is something that you can be working on. So I hope you've enjoyed this tip. I really enjoyed sharing it with you. And again, you can find me online at www.succulentwomenfindlove.com. Thank you.